Hi everyone, so today I wanted to talk about how to develop more strength in the water and specifically more freestyle strength because that's our focus for the next few weeks in endurance. A few weeks ago I talked about how to develop more power, and in order to develop power you need a base of stability. That base of stability is your body's strength in freestyle. So what is strength in the water? So the more strength you have, you can do the same amount of work using less energy. So the stronger I get, I do the same amount of work that I did before, but it costs me less. So therefore, I'm able to cover more distance or swim at greater intensity than I did before. Do more work, same amount of energy would be the other way to look at it. The second thing we want to remember is that freestyle strength is developed by swimming freestyle. So freestyle is a very unique pattern and context. So the pattern is it's just done in freestyle and it's just done in the water. So if we want to get better at it, we have to do that specific thing. You can do general physical strength outside the water or in other strokes, and that will have some crossover. But the best work is done just swimming that stroke. So how do we get better at this? There's three kind of points here. So the first one is each of you is going to have your ideal path of most resistance for where you are right now at your body's current capacity. And that is, so if we think about freestyle, my hand goes in. I want to get into a vertical position with my hand, so maximum grip. I'm not letting any water push down, it's all coming backwards. And I want to hold that for as long as I can. So that's our path of most resistance. Now what will generally happen when we fatigue or when we might go faster, we're trying to put more effort into things, is that position becomes a little bit compromised. So as we're traveling through the water, there's little releases of water to help us cope with it because our body can't cope with what we did before. You might also be training to find that ideal position. So when you're learning to develop better freestyle, you're trying to find what that is for you. So you're trying to find the path of most resistance. That will equal a stroke count, okay? So that path will equal a stroke length, so how far we can travel per stroke, and you measure that by counting how many strokes you do in the length. So you're going to have an ideal stroke count at the path of your most resistance right now in your current condition. And then how we develop this is we do repeated bouts of that specific stroke count, and we need to do more than we could do before. So we challenge ourselves by doing a little bit more all the time, and that will help us get stronger and therefore use less energy with the same amount of work. It all comes back to stroke counting. So this week we're going to do in the warm-up, what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of work where we're just trying to find that stroke count, and we're also spending a little time recovering. So if we think about it in terms of, let's say we're trying to get better upper body strength through push-ups. So holding that stroke count would be like doing a set of push-ups. Forgetting about the stroke count, relaxing, is like having a recovery in between different sets of push-ups. So we're just going to do some reps at that ideal pattern, at that ideal effort. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense, and we'll get into it this week. Welcome back. So there's a couple of things I forgot to add in this that I think will be very useful. So there's other ways that we can develop our strength as well, rather than just swimming. So within that same freestyle pattern, but using tools. So a couple of extras that you can use is we can increase the resistance in our path by putting paddles on. So generally paddles are bigger than your hand. So therefore, there's more surface area, so therefore it's harder to pull your hand through the water. So that's increasing that resistance. You can also and I talked about this before, it's increasing the resistance by doing things like making sure your hand's closed up, so you're not letting water through these gaps, so keeping a good solid hand position. So we can increase that. Paddles will help us overload what we could do before. We can also increase the drag in our vessel, so the vessel being our body moving through the water. So we could wear a band around our ankles, which is for most people is going to force the feet down a little bit, and therefore you're going to be pulling more every stroke, so it's harder. Or you could do something like tow a bucket. You could tow a bucket behind you, so you're still swimming freestyle, but it's way harder to move your body forward, so therefore you're overloading that pattern more, and you're developing more strength. A couple other things to think about.